There is a place on Earth so extreme that, for centuries, many scientists believed complex life could never exist there. A place hidden beneath nearly 11 kilometers of ocean, where sunlight has never reached, the temperature remains just above freezing, and the pressure is so immense that it would crush an ordinary submarine long before it ever touched the bottom. It sounds less like somewhere on our planet, and more like a world from science fiction. Yet this place is real. It's called the Mariana Trench. And despite being part of our own planet, it remains more mysterious than the surface of the Moon. Think about that for a moment. Humanity has sent robots to Mars, spacecraft beyond the solar system, and telescopes capable of looking billions of light-years into the universe. Yet we still know remarkably little about the deepest place on Earth. In fact, fewer people have reached the bottom of the Mariana Trench than have walked on the Moon. So the question isn't how deep it is. The real question is, what has been hiding there all this time? The Mariana Trench lies in the western Pacific Ocean, where two massive tectonic plates have been locked in a slow collision for millions of years. As one plate sinks beneath the other, it creates an enormous scar in the Earth's crust. Over unimaginable stretches of geological time, that collision carved the deepest natural trench ever discovered, ending at a place known as Challenger Deep, the lowest point on the entire planet. Its depth is almost impossible to comprehend. If Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, were placed inside Challenger Deep, its summit would still disappear beneath nearly 2 kilometers of water. Standing at the edge of this abyss would feel less like looking into the ocean, and more like staring into another world. But the true challenge isn't the depth. It's the pressure. Every 10 meters you descend adds another atmosphere of pressure. By the time you reach the bottom, more than 1,100 atmospheres are pressing against every square inch of your body. That's roughly the same as balancing dozens of fully loaded passenger jets on an area no larger than a human being. Under those conditions, steel bends, electronics fail, and even the most advanced deep-sea submersibles operate at the absolute limit of engineering. For decades, scientists believed an environment this hostile had to be lifeless. No sunlight meant no plants. No plants meant no food chain. And without a food chain, complex life simply shouldn't exist. It was a perfectly logical conclusion. Until the Mariana Trench proved every one of those assumptions wrong. When explorers finally reached the bottom, they didn't discover an empty wasteland buried beneath endless darkness. They discovered life. Not life that was merely surviving, but life that had spent millions of years evolving to thrive under conditions that should have made survival impossible. Transparent fish, ghostly crustaceans, and extraordinary organisms were living in complete darkness as if this impossible world had always belonged to them. And in that single moment, one of the biggest questions in modern science completely changed. Scientists stopped asking, can life survive in the deepest place on Earth? Instead, they began asking something far more extraordinary. If life can flourish here, where else in the universe might it already exist? But as astonishing as those creatures were, they weren't the most shocking discovery waiting at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Because hidden within this abyss was something no one expected to find, something that revealed just how deeply humanity has already changed a world we can barely even reach. For centuries, the Mariana Trench was nothing more than a mystery on a map. Scientists could calculate its depth, measure its location, and estimate the unimaginable pressure below, but no one knew what truly existed in the darkness. Every theory suggested the same conclusion. Conditions this extreme should have made complex life impossible. Then humanity finally looked for itself. Descending nearly 11 kilometers into the abyss is one of the most dangerous journeys ever attempted. Unlike climbing a mountain, where every step brings you closer to the sky, every meter into the Mariana Trench pulls you farther away from the world we know. The light disappears within minutes. The temperature drops to just above freezing. Communication becomes limited. And with every passing second, the crushing pressure grows stronger, leaving absolutely no room for failure. When the first expedition finally reached Challenger Deep, scientists expected to see a silent underwater desert, a place where evolution had simply given up. Instead, their cameras revealed movement. Small creatures drifted across the seafloor. Strange amphipods searched the sediment. Ghostly sea cucumbers slowly crossed the darkness. Delicate snailfish moved effortlessly through an environment powerful enough to crush almost every known vertebrate. These animals weren't barely surviving. They belonged there. That single discovery forced scientists to rethink one of biology's most fundamental assumptions. Life doesn't simply adapt to comfortable environments. Given enough time, life adapts to almost anything. The creatures living in the Mariana Trench are unlike those found anywhere else on Earth. Their bodies contain extraordinary biochemical adaptations that keep their cells functioning under pressures exceeding 1,100 atmospheres. Their tissues remain flexible where rigid skeletons would fail, and many of them would never survive in the shallow oceans above. Ironically, the environment that keeps us alive would destroy them. It was as if evolution had spent millions of years writing an entirely different version of life, hidden beneath nearly 11 kilometers of water where almost no human would ever see it. But then came a discovery that was even more disturbing than the creatures themselves. Scientists analyzing samples collected from the deepest point on Earth found microscopic plastic particles, toxic industrial chemicals, and other pollutants carried across the world's oceans. Somehow, humanity had managed to leave its fingerprint in one of the most isolated places on the planet. Think about what that really means. A place visited by fewer people than the Moon, hidden beneath crushing pressure and absolute darkness, is no longer untouched. If our pollution can reach the deepest place on Earth, how much of our planet is truly beyond our influence? And yet, as shocking as that discovery was, it may not be the most important lesson hidden inside the Mariana Trench. Because scientists now believe this forgotten world could answer one of the biggest questions humanity has ever asked. How did life begin, and could it already exist somewhere else in the universe? The Mariana Trench is often called the deepest place on Earth, but perhaps that's the least interesting thing about it. Its true significance isn't measured in kilometers. It's measured in the questions it forces us to ask. Every expedition into this abyss has revealed something unexpected, reminding us that the greatest discoveries are often waiting in the places we think we've already understood. Every strange creature brought to light tells the same remarkable story. Life is far more adaptable than we ever imagined. It doesn't simply survive under extreme conditions, it transforms, evolves, and finds entirely new ways to exist. In the Mariana Trench, evolution has spent millions of years writing its own chapter of Earth's history, completely hidden from human eyes. And that realization has changed the way scientists think about life across the universe. If complex organisms can thrive under crushing pressure, in permanent darkness and with almost no available energy, then perhaps the conditions we once considered impossible aren't impossible at all. Somewhere beneath the frozen oceans of Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's moon Enceladus, similar ecosystems may already exist, waiting to be discovered. Ironically, the road to finding life beyond Earth may begin by understanding the deepest place on our own planet. But perhaps the trench reveals something even more important about ourselves. Despite satellites orbiting Earth, spacecraft exploring distant planets and telescopes looking billions of light years into space, more than 80% of our oceans remain unexplored. Think about that for a moment. We have mapped worlds millions of kilometers away with greater detail than vast regions of the ocean that surround us every day. How many species remain undiscovered? How many ecosystems have never been seen? How many scientific breakthroughs are still hidden beneath the waves? The truth is, we don't know. And maybe that's what makes the Mariana Trench so extraordinary. It reminds us that exploration isn't over. It reminds us that our planet still holds secrets capable of transforming biology, medicine, geology, and perhaps even our understanding of life itself. The deepest place on Earth isn't simply an underwater canyon. It's a reminder of how much remains unknown. So the next time you stand beside the ocean, remember that nearly 11 kilometers beneath those waves lies a world without sunlight, without familiar landscapes, and without the rules we experience every day. A world where evolution took a different path, where every expedition rewrites science, and where the next discovery could change everything we believe about life on Earth and beyond. Because the greatest mystery of the Mariana Trench isn't how deep it is. It's the fact that, even today, we still don't know everything that's waiting at the bottom. If you enjoyed this journey into one of Earth's last great frontiers, subscribe for more documentaries exploring the hidden science, extraordinary places, and untold mysteries that continue to reshape our understanding of the world. And now one final question. If you had the opportunity to descend to the deepest place on Earth, knowing no human could reach you in time if something went wrong, would you take the risk?